Music. The movie unfolds in the border city of Nogales, Mexico, where Brian, a rugged man living alone in a makeshift camper-like house, gets a haunting nightmare of his wife being brutally attacked by a group of men to escape these tormenting visions. Brian throws himself into the discipline of martial arts, dedicating his days to rigorous training. Meanwhile, a young man named Oscar, who lives in the same neighborhood, observes Brian's martial arts sessions. From a distance, Oscar is deeply inspired by Brian's prowess and longs to learn the art of fighting. Oscar's daily routine involves watching Brian's training before heading off to school. As the day progresses, Oscar finds himself trailed by a group of thugs in a car. Instinctively, he senses danger and attempts to evade them, seeking refuge behind a parked car on the roadside. Little does he know that Brian is silently observing his encounter and learned that Oscar's determination to acquire martial arts skills is driven by a desperate need for self-defense. At night, the same thugs show up at Oscar's house, confronting him at gunpoint. It's revealed that they're part of Oscar's gangster brother Hector's crew and often extort money from Oscar despite being innocent. Oscar complies and hands over his money without resistance. The following morning, Oscar returns to the training field looking for Brian. To his surprise, Brian approaches him and invites Oscar to join his training. Thrilled, Oscar begins learning defensive moves from Brian. He dedicates himself to training, gaining confidence and improving his skills over a couple of weeks. Oscar's fear of Hector's gang members diminishes, and he confronts them. In the next scene, Oscar asks Brian to set up an underground fight to test his newfound abilities. However, Brian refuses, emphasizing that the skills he taught Oscar are meant for self-defense, not professional fights. Hearing this, Oscar becomes angry and storms out of the place outside the training facility. Oscar is taken aback when he spots his older brother Hector and his group of friends waiting for him. Overjoyed to see his brother again, Oscar approaches Hector with a warm embrace as they engage in conversation. Brian arrives on the scene, and Hector, sensing an unfamiliar presence, becomes suspicious. He questions Oscar about Brian, wondering if he's a law enforcement officer. In reply, Oscar reassures his brother, explaining that Brian is his martial arts teacher and poses no threat. Hector, a gangster who has always hoped Oscar would join his criminal activities, expresses his desire for his younger brother to become a part of his world. However, Oscar resists, wanting to lead a normal life and stay away from the criminal underworld despite their differing paths. Hector invites Oscar to celebrate his return with a party. Initially hesitant, Oscar eventually agrees and gets into Hector's car to join the festivities. The scene then shifts to a lively bar where Hector and his group revel in the company of girls. Oscar, however, feels out of place and expresses his desire to return home. Hector then suggests taking Oscar to witness an underground fight later, which piques his interest. After a while, the group is engrossed in watching an underground live fight with bets placed on the outcome. The referee announces a tempting prize of $10,000 for anyone who can defeat their champion fighter, known as the Collector. Oscar, inspired by his recent martial arts training, decides to enter the ring, much to his brother's surprise. Using the fighting techniques he learned from Brian, Oscar swiftly defeats the Collector. Astonishing everyone, he claims the prize money, and with newfound confidence is no longer intimidated by Hector's associates. Unbeknownst to them, a bystander in the crowd records the fight and uploads it to the internet. Meanwhile, in Orange County, California, Perro, a criminal lawyer received an emergency call and has sent the video of Oscar's underground fight. Pyro is taken aback by what he sees and immediately contacts his boss, the criminal kingpin Sonny Kilbane. Although Sonny is incarcerated, he still wields considerable power within the prison. Pyro presents the video of Oscar's fight to Sonny, who is equally astonished. He then instructs Prue to locate the fighter and start investigating the identity of Brian, whom they suspect might be Oscar's instructor. Do you want to see part 2 of this video? Subscribe to the channel and comment part 2. Thanks for watching. I would see you at part 2.